In Power Query, you can create a column, that is add a column, based on an example. You give Power Query an example of what you're after and it will create a column that follows that same pattern. So let's say, for example, we're sitting in the sales 2019 to 2021 query, and let's say I selected sale 2020. And I want to show these sales in bands of 0 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500, etc. So I'm selecting this column and I'm going to column for examples in the drop down. And I want to start by showing you a column for example based on a selection, so from selection. When I click that, this little window setup appears and you see column 1 here. So I'm going to click in column 1 and I'm literally going to type 0 to 500. And when I press enter, it has worked out that I want to put those sales figures in ranges of 0 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500. And so this figure here is between 7,000 and 7,500. So I just then click OK. And I've created a column that gives me ranges or bands for my 2020 sales. So I'm actually going to press F2 and call that 2020 sales bands. So that's an example of how you could create a column based on a certain example. And also have a look up at the M language, which is up here. It's basically saying that you want a range. And if I hit the drop down here, that's pretty much all it is there. Get used to the M language. Now let's also have a look at creating a column, for example, from all columns. So let's select like the employees query. And let's then go columns for examples and then from all columns. And so here I'm going to now type what I'm after. So I'm actually after the person's last name, Davilo. So I've got to spell it, Davilo. And I can press tab here just to save me typing. But that would finish it there, and I don't want to finish it there. So sorry, let me type that again. Davilo. And then maybe I want a comma and a space, and then maybe I want the first name, Nancy. And so if I press enter there, it picks up the fact, oh, you want the last name, a comma, a space, and then their first name. And so if I click OK, I've actually created a column based on other columns. Now if I go over to here and I press on the column heading and I press F2, I can now name that column full name. And I want to move it to the right of employee ID. So to save a lot of dragging, I'm going to go transform and I'm going to go move and I'll go to beginning. And then I can just drag it to the right of employee ID, and that's that done. Now I can get rid of the columns last name and first name because I've got a full name now. So I'm going to select this column, control select this column and hit the delete key. And those two columns have now been removed. And then I'll just apply those changes to my Power BI model. And it'll load it, evaluate it, and then I'll just save it. So going to the transform tab and choosing the option column from examples is a very quick way of adding a column based on an example you type that refers to other columns in that table. That button there, really, really good.